share an important information so that we all be able to be learned and gain more knowledge to feed our mindset. Remember, mindset is everything. And without renewing your mindset, there will be no transformation and there will be no progress, there will be no change. So this morning, we are privileged again to have our professor, Professor Dr. Pratik Mungekar from India, to share with us his wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and experience in relationship in education. Why do we invite Professor Doctor? Because Professor Dr. Pratik Raja Mungekar is a globally recognized scientist, professor, counselor, and international speaker. He has made groundbreaking contributions to sustainable development and is widely regarded as one of the world's leading experts in this field. Dr. Mungekar is a trailblazer in his field and has achieved several notable firsts. He was the first youngest Indian whose book, Introduction to Sustainable Development Goals, non-academic, became part of Atlantean education program. Dr. Mungekar has received an impressive 300 plus honorary doctorate from all over the world, making him one of the most recognized experts in his field. He has also taught over 18,000 plus students and career guided 49,000 students, and he continues to inspire and educate future leaders. He has appointed 70 plus organizations at various high positions at the same time, and also appointed ambassador by 65 bodies, almost in all disciplines. In recognition of his contribution to teaching and research, Dr. Mungekar has received 950 plus international, national, and state awards, 9 national scientific patents, and 18 world records, making him one of the most decorated academics in the world. Professor Dr. Mungekar is a visiting faculty member at 63 many national and foreign universities. He serves as the Director of Research Innovation at Oxford University, Lighthouse Leadership University, Dominion of Impact International Bible University, and the Global Ministry Discipleship Institute, and the Dean of International Development at the Theophany University. Professor Dr. Mungekar is also a successful author of 7 books, including Introduction to Sustainable Development Goals, Education and Internal Assets, Leadership Superintendence, Sustainable Horizon, Finding Balance, Inscribed and STEM, Self Science, which is the best seller. He also co-authored 15 books, represented India in more than 400 plus international conferences as keynote speaker, published more than 45 plus research papers in various international journals, also working as editor for some journals. As a vice chancellor at Unified Theological Seminary, USA, University of Kingdom of Atlantic in Singapore, Webster University in Zimbabwe, and Wisdom University Gobe in Nigeria, Dr. Mungekar brings his expertise to these prestigious institutes. Additionally, he is the first youngest pro-chancellor, founder of the University of Expertise, which speaks to his entrepreneurial spirit and dedication to innovation. After serving 14 months as Vice Chancellor this year, he got promoted and became Chancellor of Wisdom University, Gombe, Nigeria. He is the first Indian to be appointed as Dean in CCOL, London. First India to be appointed in all academic high positions at the same time. Professor Mugage's achievements has earned him several prestigious titles, including Lecturers Magnificio, LM, HRH, Duke, Sir, and others. He is also the first Indian to receive the distinguished title Professor Wisdom from Institute of Agricultural Colombian Castor Posse and Magnet, Plumas, Colombia, South America. He's also the Mediliv Fellowship at University at United Kingdom's highest academic honor. I don't want to miss that. It's very important. So, permit me now to welcome Professor Dr. Pratik Mungekar to share with us again on his topic for today. You are welcome, sir. Professor Pratik Mungekar. Okay. Right? It's your turn now to start.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes.
good morning. Thank you so much for
Morning. Good
starting
morning.
early with
Yes,
us
yes.
today. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much because I know you are busy and you might be setting your journey again to travel somewhere else. So the earlier, the better we catch you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
So
after this, I'll go to embassy to collect
exactly.
my visa.
Exactly. So that is why we have to wake up early to, to learn from you. Okay. All
Okay.
is yours now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Elizabeth Lucas, for the opportunity and invitation. And I always say proudly that it has been a pleasure and honor to be here, to be associated with you and Yes You Can International Academy. Okay. So today's my topic is relationship in education. So I'm going to discuss we there is a urgency or there is a need of an hour that we have to improve students' relationship with teachers to provide essential supports for learning. So um, I believe positive relationships can also help a student develop socially.
Mm,
So, improving students' relationships with teachers has important, positive, and long lasting implications for both students' academic and social development. Uh, solely improving students' relationships with their teachers will not produce gains in achievement. However, those students who have close, positive, and supportive relationships with their teachers will attain higher levels of achievement than those students with more conflict in their relationships. So, picture a student who feels uh, a strong personal connection to her teacher, skills with her teacher frequently, and receives more constructive guidance and praise rather than just criticism from her teacher. So the student is likely to trust her teacher more, show more engagement in learning, behave better in class, and achieve at higher levels academically. So, positive teacher student relationships draw students into the process of learning and promote their desire to learn, assuming that uh, the content material of the class is engaging, age appropriate, and well matched to the students' skills. Okay, now I'm going to discuss high quality academic instruction. Now, see, high quality academic instruction meaning this is designed to be appropriate to students' educational levels. It also creates opportunity for thinking and analysis, uses feedback effectively to guide students thinking and extend students prior knowledge. Okay, So, what I can say, what do uh, good teacher-student relationships look like, and why do these relationships matter? Okay, now see, teacher who support positive relationships with their students create classroom environments more conductive to learning and meet students' developmental, emotional, and academic needs. So there are some concrete examples of closeness between a teacher and a student relationship. For example, a high school student chooses to share the news that he recently got a part in a community play with his teacher because he knows that his teacher will show genuine interest in his success. Then a fourth grade boy who is struggling in math shows comfort in admitting to his teacher that he needs help with multiplying and dividing fractions, even if most of the students in the class have moved beyond this book. Then, a middle school girl experiences bullying from other students and approaches her social studies teachers to discuss it because she trusts that the teacher will listen and help without making her feel socially inept. So, positive teacher relationship or positive teacher student relationship contributes to school adjustment and academic and social performance. So, positive teacher student relationships, evidence by teacher reports of law conflict, a high degree of closeness and support, and little dependency have been shown to support students' adjustment to school, contribute to their social skills, promote academic performance, and support students' resiliency in academic performance. So, teachers who experienced close relationships with students reported that their students were less likely to avoid school, appeared more self directed, more cooperative, and more engaged in learning. So teachers who use more learner centered practices, that is, practices that show sensitivity to individual differences among students, include students in the decision making and acknowledge student developmental, personal, and relation or what you can say rational needs, produce greater motivation in their students than those who use fewer of such practices. So students who attended math classroom with higher emotional support reported increased engagement in mathematics learning. These are some case studies which they perform, and these are the visuals. For example, fifth graders said that they were willing to exert more effort to understand the math lesson. They enjoyed thinking about and solving problems in math and were more willing to help peers learn new concepts. So among kindergartens students, they reported likely school more and experiences less loneliness if they had a close relationship with their teachers. Further, kindergarten gardeners with better teacher-student relationship showed better performance on measures of early academic skills. So the quality of early teacher-student relationships has a long-lasting impact. Specifically, students who had more conflict with their teachers or showed more dependency towards their teacher in kindergarten also had lower academic achievement as reflected in mathematics and language arts grades, and more behavioral problems, for example, poorer work habits, more discipline problems through the eighth grades. So all these, case studies and these findings were greater for boys than girls. Further, they work and their work indicates that all these children with more closeness and less conflict with teachers develop better social skills as they approach the middle school years than the other levels of educational or can say grades with more conflictual um, relationships experiences in the past. So my next point is, or what I can say, question: what do positive teacher-student relationships look and feel like in the classroom? So, how to develop positive relationships with your students basically. So there are some points like you have to show your pleasure and enjoyment of students. Then you have to interact with students in a responsive and respectful manner. Offer students help, for example, answering questions in timely manner, offering support that matches students needs in achieving academic and social objectives. Then you have to help students reflect on their thinking and learning skills. Know and demonstrate knowledge about individual students backgrounds, interests, emotional strengths, and academic levels. Then you have to also avoid showing irritability or aggravation towards students. Then also very important, we have to acknowledge the importance of peers in schools by encouraging students to be caring and respectful to one another. In contrast, what do negative teacher student relationships look and feel like? So my answer is, teachers who have negative relationships with a student show evidence of frustration, irritability, and anger toward that student. So teachers might display their negativity through snide and sarcastic comments towards the student, or describe the feeling that they are always struggling or in conflict with a particular student. Often, teachers will describe a specific student as one who exhausts them, or a student who leaves them feeling drained and burnt out. So, negative teacher-student relationships can, amplify when teachers show irritability and anger towards several or many of the students in the classroom. So in these type of classrooms, teachers may find themselves resorting to yelling and harsh punitive control. So teacher-student communication may appear sarcastic or disrespectful. So student victimization or bullying may be common occurrences in such negative classrooms. So negative teacher-student relationships are stressful for both teachers and students, and can be detrimental to students' academic and social emotional development. Now, there are some do's and don'ts. Okay, so first we'll see do's. Um, the first do is make an effort. We have to make an effort to get to know and connect with each student in your classroom. So always call them by their names, find out information about their interests, and strive to understand what they need to succeed in school. Okay, then the second do is you have to make an effort to spend time individually with each student, though it's difficult, but we can try, especially those who are difficult or shy. So this will help you to create a more positive relationship with them. Then the third is be aware of the explicit and implicit messages you are giving to your students. Okay, be careful to show your students that you want them to do well in school through both actions and words. Then we have to create a positive climate also in our classroom by by focusing not only on improving your relationships with your students, but also on enhancing the relationships among your students. So be aware that you are modeling behavior for your students, whether intentional or not. Then the next student notice your interaction style. They notice whether you show warmth and respect toward them, to other students and to adults at your school. Often they will, model their own behavior after your behavior. So nowadays, the generation, the students are very smart. So you have to be very careful, at the same time, responsible also. um, so all the these today's generation students, they notice everything. They notice the methods you use to manage strong emotions. They notice positive strategies, such as taking a deep breath or talking about your frustrations. Likewise, they also notice negative strategies too. such as yelling at students or making mean or disrespectful, what you can say, jokes about colleagues. So be aware that students will often adopt the strategies that you use. So these are some do's which we have to, incorporate in our teaching pedagogies or in the classroom. Now, don'ts. So the first don't is, don't assume that being kind and respectful to student is enough to bolster achievement. Ideal classrooms have more than a single goal. So teachers hold students to appropriately high standards of academic performance and offer students an opportunity for an emotional connection to their teachers, their fellow students, and the school. So don't give up too quickly on your efforts to develop positive relationships with difficult students. So these students will benefit from a good teacher-student relationship as much or more than they're easier to get along with peers. Then don't assume that respectful and sensitive interactions are only important to elementary school students. Middle and high school students benefit from such relationships as well. Okay. Then don't assume that relationships are inconsequential. Some research suggests that preschool children who have a lot of conflict with their teachers show increases in a stress hormones when they interact with these teachers. Then don't wait for negative behaviors and interactions to occur in the classroom. Instead, take a proactive stance on promoting a positive social experience by including students in discussions about pro-social interactions and consistently modeling those positive interactions for them. Now, the next is, so these are some do's and don'ts which every teacher have to, incorporate and have to remember always. Now, how to cultivate positive relationships in your classroom. So, first, very important is know your students. This is very important. Knowing a student's interest can help you create examples to match those interests. So if a student who loves basketball comes to you with a question about a math problem, you might respond to her or him with a problem involving basketball. Connect with their interests. So, they can connect easily and they will, what you can say, study more effectively. And for them, then become it's easy to solve the problem regarding study and regarding any subject matter. Okay, so if a student who speaks, for example, Spanish at home comes to you with a question about English vocabulary, okay, you might answer his question and then ask him what the word is in Spanish and how he or she would use it in a sentence. So, this type of specific responding shows that you care about your students as people and that you are aware of their unique strengths, that is fluency in another language. Okay, so that's why I always do this kind of things in my during my lectures, because there is a need to connect the academic. This is very important. We have to connect the academic with our day-to-day life. Okay, because the students, they are what you can say, experiencing many things in their everyday life. Okay, and if you be able to connect our academic with the day-to-day life, then the study become easy. Okay, then we will not face the challenges, frustration, depressions anymore. If teacher, or rather both, because it is interdependent, teacher and student, if they connect their academic, their study, their work with the day-to-day life, then the study and the life basically become magical. So, knowing a student's temperament can help you construct appropriate learning opportunities. If a girl in your class is particularly distractible, you can support her efforts to concentrate by offering her a quieter area in which to work. Then, if a boy in your classroom is very shy, appears engaged, but never, what you can say, raises his hands to ask questions, you can assess his level of understanding of a concept in one-on-one conversation at the end of class. So these are some ways where you can, you will be able to know your students in a better manner. Then give students meaningful feedback. Notice the way that you give feedback to your students. If possible, for example, are you giving students meaningful feedback that says you care about them and their learning, or are you constantly telling your students to hurry? Or if possible, you can record your video while you are teaching, while you are doing something, or while you are giving feedback to your students, and if possible, watch that video for your own teaching. That way also you will, you will improve yourself. Okay, because nowadays, I always say in many of the conferences and during my lectures or teacher training that we need to educate the educators first. You know, uh, this is a very global issue nowadays. After we completed our graduation, post graduation, PhDs, all these educators, they stop learning. Okay, because they have their qualification, achievements. So when they enter into the classroom, they go with all those things, the achievements, the ego, the qualification, the experiences, everything. And what happens with that crown of ego, achievement, self, what you can say, attitude, their teaching become teacher centric. And we need exactly opposite. We need human centric education. We need student centric teaching, so that students will learn and they can develop, and that way we will, all the teachers or educators also, they can achieve their goals. Okay, so I always say that there are three things which is very important. Okay, listen it carefully. Right education, right to education, and right way of education. This is very important. Right to education is, everyone, um, everyone has got right to education, by their respected uh, government and the educational policies. But right education is very important, and right way of education. Only teacher and students, they can achieve these two things: right education and right way of education. So we have to be very careful. Learning must be learning to learn, not learning to rote learning or learning for marks or learning for memorization. No, learning to learn. This is very important. So, you know, I was talking, give students meaningful feedback. So you always ask yourself that, are you giving students meaningful feedback that says you care about them and their learning, or are you constantly telling your students to hurry, or in your conversations are you focusing on what your students have accomplished, or are you concentrating your comments on what they have not yet mastered? So does your body language, facial expression, and a tone of voice show your students that you are interested in them as people too? Then are you telling them to do one thing yet you model quite different behavior? For example, are you telling your students to listen to each other, but then look bored when one of them talks to the class. So be sure that the feedback you give to your student conveys the message that you are supporting their learning. That is very, very important, and that you care about them. So are you paying more attention to some students than to others? So this kind of, this way you can assess yourself also, and you can improve uh, your teaching on pedagogical standards also. Then make sure to provide social and emotional support and set high expectations for learning. Be respectful and sensitive to adolescents. Because supportive teacher student relationships are just as important to middle and high school students as they are to elementary students. Or every stages, um, from all the stages, these the students, what you can say, you have to be respectful and sensible, whether the student is in elementary or middle school or high school or even college or university level. So positive relationships encourage students motivation and engagement in learning. So older students need to feel that their teachers respect their opinions and interests just as much as younger students do. Even in situations where adolescents do not appear to care about what teachers do or say, teacher actions and words do matter and may even have long term positive or maybe negative consequences. Now, the very important, how to improve relationships with difficult students. So we have to develop positive discourse with students with challenging behavior. Think about what you say to the difficult students in your classroom. Difficult students, I mean the naughty, who always trouble their teacher, like that. So difficult students, I use the term difficult student. So are you constantly, bombarding you more challenging students with requests to do something? Do you find yourself constantly asking students to stop doing what they are doing? So these kind of questions you have to ask yourself, and you will get your answer. When you ask yourself question, you will get answer. No need to go here and there and study from those books and ask to other people. Just ask yourself, talk to yourself, and you will get answers certainly. So no one likes being uh, badgered and pestered, and your students are no exception. So try to find a time or place when you can have positive discussion with the problem student or the difficult student. Then notice also and mention the positive behaviors they exhibit time to time. Okay, reminder yourself that or always remind yourself that even if a challenging student appears unresponsive to your request, she or he is hearing the messages that you are giving her or him. So her or him responses may not change her or him immediate behavior, but may matter in the long term. So make extra efforts to develop and sustain relationships with difficult students. Difficult students require more energy on your part. For example, you may need to spend time with them individually to get to know them better, to understand their interest as well as what motivates them. So this will not only allow you to tailor your instruction to their interest and motivation, but the time spent will also allow them to develop trust in you. Recent research on high school students who have frequent and intense discipline problems shows that when adolescents perceive their teachers are trustworthy people, they show less defiant behavior. And a persistent teacher-student conflict throughout the elementary years increases the likelihood that children will exhibit negative externalizing behaviors. So it is important for teachers to build close relationships at an early age with children at risk for behavioral issues. So this what you can say, forming positive relationships with behaviorally difficult students nowadays very important. Then there are some theoretical perspective also to explain student behavior. So there are three theoretical perspectives: attachment theory, social cognitive theory, and self system theory. Okay, these theories help to explain why students behave in certain ways in your classroom and how you can use your relationships with them to enhance their learning. So the first is attachment theory. Okay, now see, attachment theory explains how students use their positive relationships with adults to organize their experiences. So central to this theory is that students with close relationships with their teachers view their teacher as a secure base from which to explore the classroom environment. So in practice, students with this what I can say secure base feel safe when making mistakes and feel more comfortable accepting the academic challenges necessary for learning. So strong teacher student relationships can even act as a buffer against the potentially adverse effects that insecure parent child attachment and this parent child attachment can have on students academic achievement also. Then the second is social cognitive theory. Social cognitive theory uh, posits that students develop a wide range of skills simply by watching other people perform those skills. Thus, modeling behavior can be a positive and effective modality for teaching. Applied to the classroom environment, teacher play a very critical role as live models from which students can learn social behaviors and positive communication skills. So, social cognitive theory also sheds light on the importance of feedback and encouragement from teachers in relation to student performance. So, teachers serve as a role models and help regulate student behavior through interactions and relationships. Then the next and last theory is self-system theory. Okay, so self-system theory emphasizes the importance of students' motivation and by doing so explains the importance of teacher-student relationships. So students uh, come to the classroom with three basic psychological needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness, all of which can be met in a classroom through students' interactions with teachers and with the learning environment. So, classroom practices that support the feelings of competence, autonomy, and relatedness are likely to produce the engagement and motivation required for academic learning and success. So, first is competence. Competence refers to a student's need to feel capable of academic work. Then autonomy. Autonomy suggests a feeling that he or she has some choice and ability to make decision. Then relatedness, implies that a student feels socially connected to teachers or peers. So positive teacher-student relationships help students meet these needs. Teachers offer feedback to students to support their feelings of competence. So teacher who know their student interests and preferences and show regard and respect for these individual differences bolster students' feelings of autonomy. So, teachers who establish a personal and caring relationship and support positive social interactions within their classroom meet their students' needs for relatedness or social connection to school. All these taken together, effective teacher-student relationships confirm to students that teachers care for them and support their academic efforts. So, the students, for example, I face some of the questions which I am going to answer through this webinar. The first question, the students in um, when I ask someone, okay, sorry, somebody asked me this question, okay, and that time I answered. The question was the students in my school have severe emotional and behavioral problems, and my school has few economic resources. Can good relationships really help? So that was the question, and my answer to that question was, as teacher student relationships contribute to students resiliency. Often we assume that hard hard to change factors such as class size, teacher experience, or availability of instructional supplies are crucial for predicting student achievement. In fact, these factors are not as important as having positive relationships. So in one study of almost 4,000 students who were who were ethnic minority groups and from poor families, the presence of positive relationships with teachers and the experience of a positive and orderly school environment in elementary and middle school were strong predictors of gains in maths outcomes, much stronger than class size, teacher experience, or availability of instructional supplies. So in another study also, urban high school students with behavior and emotional problems were assigned to an intervention involving weekly interactions with teachers, monthly calls to the students at home, and increased praise from adults. So those students involved in the intervention showed higher grade point averages over the 5-month intervention period compared to their peers who were not receiving the intervention. So these are some case studies, and studies like these point to an important message across ages and in all content areas. Students will be more engaged and motivated if teachers meet students' essential need for social connection. Then the second question was, can positive teacher-student relationships help to reduce the prevalence of bullying behavior in students? So the behaviors and emotions that young children display when interacting with peers play a very critical role in their involvement with bullying throughout the school years. So teachers have the ability to reduce bullying behaviors that occur in classroom by establishing a positive climate in which pro-social actions are both encouraged and rewarded. So, through teacher student relationship, teachers can assist students in understanding how to better understand and regulate emotions they are feeling. Teachers can also involve students in discussing alternative strategies to deal with social conflict and in establishing pro social rules for the classroom. Then, how does the importance of the teacher student relationship compare to other important relationships such as parent student relationship in students lives? From early childhood through adolescence, positive teacher student relationships appears to complement the other important relationships in students lives. Okay, for young students, increase parental engagement, that is warmth and sensitivity, support for autonomy, involvement in learning, or is associated with greater social bonds with other caregiving adults, including teachers. In middle school students, the perception of their teacher, whether they felt that their teacher was supportive toward them or not, predicted students' interest in learning and their engagement in the classroom. So at this level, parental support plays a complementary role by participating youth's motivation in school. And then in high school, parent and teacher supportiveness combined with parent and teacher monitoring high expectations. So at this stage, parent and teacher monitoring of behavior as well as high parent and teacher expectations play a very important role in achievement. Then what are the factors contributing to positive teacher student relationships? So there are multiple factors determine teacher student relationships. A teacher characteristics and student characteristics each play an important role in predicting the quality of interactions that teachers have with students.
Please bear with us. He's rounding up his own section. I think it's just the computer again, the connection. So hopefully he will round up now. Okay.
In my classroom. Yes, yes, I'm winding up. Yes, all teachers and educators, they can improve the relationships with their students if they think positively, if they teach beyond the classroom, and that way we as an educator, we will, we will share, we will, what you can say, do the revolution in education. So yes, so with this, I think I have covered relationship in education topic in a detailed manner. Yes, also I hope you like, all the listeners later on they will like. Now I'm open for questions, so if you have any question, you can ask.
Well, well,
Anyway,
well.
I
You've
designed this lecture in a question answer session so that it will be more easy to
Mhm.
uh, to know when they listen later on.
Yes, yes, yes. And I believe that they will send all their questions because, I mean, all the things that you just share with us now is very important. And we really, really, I personally learned a lot. And even some of them are new to me. Despite the fact that I've been a teacher, I've been a school governor. That means intermediary between the school, the teachers, and also the parents. So I've been the school governor. I've also been a school representative. So really, I'm learning. I'm learning good stuff from what you just shared with us this morning, and it's very, very important. The only thing I miss out, I think because of the connection, was the factors of positive relationship with teachers and students. Did you mention any factors at all? Because I know we miss you that area.
Which
Factors.
one?
Factors of positive relationship with teachers and students.
Oh yeah,
That was the last bit that you were sharing, but the connection disturbed us. So do you want to mention two, just two of it?
uh, mm, the factors like empathy.
Empathy, yes.
Empathy,
Yes.
yes, yes. I mentioned empathy. Then we have to be uh, positively caring and responsible. That
Okay.
was one factor. Um, and yeah, competence,
Competence.
autonomy, and relatedness
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you
factors.
so much. I believe that everyone is joining, and I want to appreciate Ambassador Rita is joining and commenting, which is very good. I want to appreciate Inga from Georgia. I want to appreciate Professor Nada from Croatia, and many more that have joined us on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. I also want to add the platform because it's early. So we have Papa on the platform. So the only thing is that we can't see him clearly because it's so dark. I think there is no electricity in that area. Oh, wonderful. We can. Oh, wonderful. So on this note, on behalf of Yes You Can International, we want to say thank you so much for coming as early as this time to come and deliver your section on relationship in education, which is very important. I know you are traveling soon. I would like to have, if that is good, between now and ending of this month, to come back for part 2 of this relationship in education, because I think we need to know more. You made mention of bullying. I want to hear from you about
Yeah,
bullying.
sure, sure.
Exactly. I want to hear from you about that bullying behavior, how we can overcome it, how we can support those that are bullying and those that are being bullied, all those ones. So please check your diary and let us know the
Yeah,
time.
actually, just hold on. Huh?
Okay, okay. So you can come back because we
Yeah,
need to call and Papa to deliver his section because he's also going to the
yeah. See, as you can see, this is my upcoming book.
oh
Okay,
silence
I
revolt.
named Silent Revolution.
Okay.
Okay, I have written two books basically recently. This is Silent Revolution. This is for all the educators, okay?
Okay.
Because we need revolution, but we are not in government or we are not the policymakers. But
Mhm.
as an educator, we can do the revolution silently,
Okay.
because every educator, if they believe, if they implement all those strategies and all those things which I discussed in their classroom, then
Mhm.
that that can make a revolution.
Okay.
So we name Silent Revolution. And the
Revolution.
second book is about ancient wisdom meets modern technology. So in that book, as you all know, India has a very rich history and educational background. So I I align all those our ancient wisdom with today's modern technology, like artificial intelligence, blockchain technology. You name the technology, and that technology I try to align with our ancient wisdom
Okay.
with modern approach for the younger generation. So these two books, we can have a session on this. So I
Okay.
will discuss some of the topics from this book to
Okay.
the listeners, our listener, because this is
Yes,
very
please.
important
Yes.
and a need of an hour. So we can
Yes.
discuss.
Yes. So please tell me the time. It's very important. Tell me the date. You can
Okay,
text me up.
on 30th and 31st May I'm free.
38th. I mean 30th
30th
and
30th May and 31st May.
okay.
Days I
Okay.
have a holiday, so we
Okay.
can arrange
We
session.
can arrange that section. Okay. I'll come back to you. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. And I would
Thank
like to have a copy, if it's possible, before that
you. Yeah,
time, so that I can also flow with your section. Thank you so
sure,
much.
sure.
Okay. Right. We just finished with